Guys, if this content has given you value or entertainment or both, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It really helps with the algorithm and helps this content get seen by more people. Thanks. Hey guys, Nathyn Brendan Masters. I am here, and yes, I am going to do a video. Tomorrow we are going into lockdown here in Illinois. So I went out today. I got like a bunch of stuff. I actually had to take care of some business downtown. It was like a really busy day, much more busy than I would have liked considering everything that's going on right now. But I did have to take care of that and stuff like this. So I am back today, and let's jump into it. I'm going to go old school here, some good old commentary, and talk about something, not just because it's low-hanging fruit, partially because it's low-hanging fruit, but I don't know what to say. The amount of people talking about this, everybody, of course, from Zach over at your boy Zach over at Comics Matter, Creep Show Art, she's in the art community, Amazing Lucas, who does commentary, but he covers stuff like this. Every once in a while, he'll jump on some geek stuff. He kind of covers a lot of the big geek stuff, but I'm gonna come at this from a whole different level because of the fact that I don't really care about any of these characters and any of the things that Marvel's doing right now. This is all a reaction to what they believe is unfair criticism. The problem is that this very thing that they're doing, where you have characters called Snowflake and Safe Space, they're like, we're gonna be in your face about it. No, you've been in our faces about it. That's the problem. Everyone's tired of it. It's garbage. We've been telling you it's garbage. Why won't you listen? Because you have too much pride, and on top of that, you're only fake woke. You're fake woke, and you've been that way for a while. In fact, I would say the wokest person at Marvel was Stan Lee, and he's been gone for a long time. Rip Stan, original true believer. But let's look at some of the wokeness of Marvel over the years. You have a gay superhero called Northstar, the first openly gay superhero, at least mainstream. You have this guy, and he's around. Does anybody know Northstar? If you're not an old school Marvel head, do you know Northstar? Do you even know what Alpha Flight is? Does any of that even ring a bell? It should. You know why? Because if your thing is we're looking for diverse superheroes and we want gay superheroes and black superheroes, wouldn't you want to start with Northstar? No, because I don't believe anybody at Marvel right now knows what the hell a Northstar is. They don't read comic books. They don't know these characters. They're not interested in comic books. Let's look at some other older attempts at wokeness from Marvel. Remember the Crew? Yeah, now Marvel will throw out some Crew issues, but let's go way back when the Crew first started. And you can go and research this because this was during around what was called the Black Age of Comics, which before SJWs, before certain people at Marvel and some of the big companies, we're trying to get the minorities to, we want to do this for the black girls and the minorities and the black folks was doing it for themselves back in the 90s. You're late. You're real late. Now, DC had an imprint called Milestone back in the day, and this was an imprint that focused on black and minority superheroes, and it was founded by Dwayne McDuffie, Denny Cohen's, Michael Davis, and Derek Dingle. And these were prominent black writers and creators at the time. But over at Marvel, Christopher Priest, also a very well-known and well-regarded black comic book writer, created a concept called The Crew. And they were like, okay, this sounds good, right? All right, so they make the superhero team, that superhero team being the Crew. And let me preference this by saying, what do you notice about Marvel? What do you notice about Marvel Comics? Something specific about Marvel. It's not an independent comic book company. It's the leader. It's the industry leader. One of the biggest, if not the biggest industry leader is Marvel Comics, right? Okay, they don't do black and white comics, except maybe like some Conan stuff, like the Savage Sword of Conan, those old magazines from back in the day, the black and white, that the black and white really detailed art, that kind of stuff. Okay, Marvel releases this book in black and white. This is a Marvel comic released in black and white. All the other comic books, they have full color. The black superhero book, black and white. Now, the excuse for this was, well, we were trying to, make it rough and kind of make it more. No, that's not how you do that. If that's what you want to do, then you would have made it black and white, made it a lot of black lines, a lot of detailed art. It would have been some grayscale in there, or some ink wash, something like that. Something that's really artistic, something that's really artsy, something that's really nice. To really say, yeah, we're really trying to do this justice, even though it's not, even though it's black and white. That's not what they did. They did straight up black and white, thin line artwork. The kind of artwork that should be in color. Marvel is woke when it benefits them, or when they think it will benefit them. The issue is now they're in a situation where they have a lot of people who are also woke, and they're running the company and they're running it into the ground, and they can't get rid of them now. Here's a primer. Here's a thing to think about. If you ever consider calling yourself woke, telling people, I'm woke, look how woke I am. If you're that woke, you ain't woke. Woke people never tell you that they're woke. They show you they're woke. Wonder Woman's a great example. Here's a movie about a female character. She's beautiful, she's strong, she's immensely powerful. She herself turns out to be a goddess. This is a great character, and this is directed by a woman. Now, to my knowledge, Patty Jenkins never did the I'm a woman, hear me roar thing. She never did that. She never talked about how she's a woman, it's so hard for her. Now, maybe she did. I didn't see it. What I did see was a great movie. A movie with parts where people clapped and cheered in the movie because it was that good. See, when you're good at what you do, you don't have to tell anybody. People can see it. You scream about being woke and how you're into we want to get this diversity in here. You scream about wokeness and diversity when you're not good at what you do. Typically, and this has been shown over and over and over. Diversity at this point is nothing more than people patting themselves on the back and saying, look at what I can do. I can put black people in a story. I can put a woman in the story. I can put LGBTQ characters in a story. Look at this. See? And what's the story? Well, that's it. I'm going to tell you, some people might say, well, Nate, I mean, wow, you sound like you're against diversity. I'm going to tell you a story of myself. I used to hit the conventions, the comic book conventions. I plan to start hitting them again sometime in the future. Who knows with what's happening right about now. But the fact of the matter is, I used to hit these conventions, and if a brother walked by, I'm talking to him, and I would harp on the fact, hey man, it's a black superhero. Huh? It's a black guy. So eventually a brother came to me and said, we were talking, I'm telling about and he said, okay, I get it. He's black. What does he do? What's his story? And not one guy did that. There's at least 2 or 3 that had that same thing. Said, okay, so what? Tell me his story. This is where Marvel's at right now. Marvel is at that point where they're saying the character's black, the character's female, the character's LGBTQ, and the character has no real story. Sometimes they try to make a story, but it's not really good. And part of the problem is that the people writing the story are indeed afraid. They're afraid to offend people with the story they write. And I know that feeling, believe it or not, because the majority of my main characters are black or minority. You have Victor, he's a black guy. Decoy, he's Asian. Zombie Girl's a woman. Night Evil's a black woman. Hanover's a lesbian. Ashen's Japanese. These are all my main characters, and they're all minorities in some way, shape, or form. And there's things that I was iffy about, like with Ashen being Japanese, we had a whole thing we were going to do where Ashen and her brother would always be drawn like manga characters. I thought that was funny. And I know comic book people would get a kick out of that. Like, comic book, especially people who read both American comics and manga. They would love that because they get it. There were a lot of manga yandere tropes and things like that with her and her brother. They would get it. But the way things work, other people who are not into as much in the comics as they would like to pretend they are, they wouldn't get it, or they may be offended by it, or they would pretend to be offended by it and cause trouble. And that was back in the day when I was like a little bit more skittish about that kind of thing. But that's the kind of thing that they do. And I don't go around screaming about the race or the sexual orientation or any of that kind of stuff about my characters. I just present them to you in their story. If it's a good story, people want to read it. And I'll close this out by telling a story that Zach talked about, and a lot of people from the 90s who loved the character Night Thrasher. He's kind of remembered as this black character that everyone liked, but Marvel didn't really know what to do with. And that happens a lot with black and minority characters where people don't seem to really get what people like about the character and what to do with the character. Well, whatever you're doing with the character, that's what people like. They always seem to want to make changes with these characters to try to make the character more cool or more with it, or do something special to make the character different than what people like. I remember them taking Night Thrasher's skateboard away. Believe it or not, there was a lot of people who liked the skateboard. That was a thing. That was a character thing, and they took that away. Why? And you hear people talk about a black Batman, Night Thrasher was the black Batman. He was Marvel's black Batman. He had the martial arts. He had all the skills, all the knowledge. He was a survivalist. He had all these things, not to mention inheriting a billion-dollar tech company. Why couldn't this character go further? I think it had to do with the character's race. When a black character gets very popular, they just don't know what to do with him. His name keeps coming up over and over as the black guy that everybody loved. And it seems so odd that whenever there's a black guy that everybody loves, Marvel, he just kind of fades away. You got Blade. You don't see a lot of Blade. When you do, it's some kind of crazy thing, the way they use them. Luke Cage gets some pretty good play with him being, a character in the TV series. I could have sworn I saw like a Luke Cage or a Power Man comic that was drawn in that what they call Cal art style, and I was like, oh no, they can't be doing this. But I can't find any information about it, so I don't know. Maybe it was some kind of fever dream or something. But I could have sworn I saw that in the comic book store, and I picked it up and flipped through, and he was in his old costume from back in the day, and it was like, I was like, oh my God, they can't be doing this. But I don't know. I can't find any information on that. But I do think the criticism Marvel gets about its fake wokeness is warranted. It's there because people acknowledge that they're not doing a good job And a lot of people, like myself, question, do they even really care? I say no. And from what I'm seeing and hearing, I don't even think they care about comics at all anymore. Except for maybe Spider-Man, of course, and, using comics to push agendas. And one more thing. Stop trying to build black and minority characters off of pre-existing white characters. Nobody wants to see that. Make some new stuff, some good new stuff. Make some new stuff. Really put some effort into these characters and stop pretending that you care and actually show us that you care. Put the same effort into these characters that you put into Spider-Man. And if you did that, you wouldn't come up with crazy shit like Snowflake and Safe Space. And yes, I am going to harp on Snowflake and Safe Space. You're not doing yourself any favors here. These are the most tone-deaf characters and names you could have created. And I'm not going to even bother with screen time and the internet gas. These are joke characters. They belong in an issue of Spider-Ham or Howard the Duck. And there may be a writer somewhere that could do something badass with these concepts. But I highly doubt that writer is working for Marvel Comics. All right, guys, you take it easy. Nathyn Brendan Masters. I will catch you tomorrow, hopefully, while we're under quarantine. So you guys take it easy. And hasta.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire